Hey everybody, I am here at California Adventure, so let's get inside. Look at this. It's so pretty. Look, oh my god, the electrical wires. Oh look, there's a Carthay circle. Oh, I'm gonna do that toilet stairs. Here we go. Or if they have it. Oh, I hope they have it. Look at the trolley. Here we go. I hope they have the tour, but look at the trolley. Oh look down the street. Look how nice it is. So they said there was no more tours, but then she said that the lady who did the tours would give me a little bit of history, so yeah.
Is this your first time in our building?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you know what Carthay was for Walt Disney at all?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you know?
That it was where they showed Snow White.
Yes, it is where Walt Disney premiered Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs on December 21st, 1937. So we're modeled after the Carthay Circle Fox Theater. And it did stand off of San Vicente and Wilshire in the Hollywood area. So this is an aerial view of the ground. So if you know where like LACMA is, it stands over in that area.
So it's still around?
It is not. So it stood all the way up until about 1969. And then it was torn down. They had a battle with the city to try and kind of keep it standing, but unfortunately they didn't win. So, but they broke ground for the theater in about 1924. The building was finished completion in 26. And then the Snow White premiere happened in 37. So it stood primarily in the 20s and 30s. And so because of that, the building did embody the Art Deco decor of that time frame, which you'll kind of notice. It also did have an underlining theme of pioneers heading westward. So this is the pioneer statue, which was actually put up for Mr. McCarthy's father. Mr. McCarthy was the gentleman who did help fund and build the building for Carthay. The name actually stems from his name. Carthay is, his last name's McCarthy, so he shortened it to Carthay. Thought it sounded fancier. The circle part of the name comes from the fact that the theater house itself was a perfect circle, so that's where that kind of stems from. But Mr. McCarthy's father did travel westward, which is what this pioneer statue is for. And then on top of that, which is probably where he drew the inspiration for the pioneer.
Is that still around?
It is. That is the only thing remaining of Carthay. And that stands right over here. It stands underneath an oak tree, right in the kind of the Westmont area. And it is still standing. It's called Prospector Dam by the locals, which is kind of neat. And then we do have the drop curtain inside. I'll point out to you, but we do have a nod to the drop curtain, which is really neat. Because obviously Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was Walt's first feature-length film, it was also the first feature-length film for animation as well. So it wasn't just particular to Walt Disney, but animation history as well. So before Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, though, animation really wasn't taken that seriously. And there was a lot of shorts, and they were actually viewed to be entertainment for children before a film was actually to really begin. So when he decided to do Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, is actually met by a lot of criticism. Some of the papers referred to it as Walt's folly. They didn't think it was going to be successful. They said no one's going to want to sit through a 90-minute cartoon. And so come premiere night, they actually anticipated maybe about 3,000 to show up to the premiere. But it well exceeded that expectation with actually close to 30,000. So it was a huge monumental success. In the course of 1 year, it actually grossed $1.5 million. And in the course of 2 years, it grossed $8.5 million, which during the time era, which it was done in 37, so that would be the Great Depression. So I don't know if you know too much about the Great Depression yet, but because of the Great Depression, they were only charging about 10 cents per ticket. So very cheap for entry level to come into the theater. So you think about how many people actually went and saw the film. Quite a bit. So for that reason, we do have on this wall, this is a Snow White program. So it's on display, which is really neat. We also do carry this particular flower both upstairs and downstairs. This one is a real bouquet. The one upstairs used to be real, but we've replaced it with artificial. It stands in the wine basin. So when they pull out the wine, the petals are falling. So, but the flower is a little lily flower, and the idea is that it's a nod to the So we have a lily flower both upstairs and downstairs. We don't do film, we do food. So we're about a 3/4 replica. So the tower is a little bit shorter than the original building, but we are very similar in facade to the building. So it's a very mission style idea. soon as you step through those doors and into our lounge, the lounge was actually really a lot of research went into it, so that it looks very similar to what you would have found in Carthay's lobby area. So we'll take the elevator up. The elevator holds original photographs of the lobby area of Carthay, so you can kind of see the similarities. So the carpeting is actually pretty identically replicated. The wood paneling is done really well as well, along with the wall paneling. My favorite is actually the chandeliers are said to be reminiscent. They were actually manufactured by the exact same company that did the originals for Carthay, so very authentic in that regard. And then obviously all the dwarves came through and hang all the diamonds for the diamond celebration. But as you move forward and up through the building, they do, it builds on the sense of premiere. So the back wall, right back here, is all dedicated to the breaking the ground and the grand opening for Carthay. So you have the dedication of the pioneer statue, you have a great photo of the actual building itself. The Russian ballet, they were helping and then right over there is our host podium. So as you move forward and up through the building, it builds on the sense of premiere.
So the one on the left is Carthay.
So all of these are premieres that happened at Carthay.
Oh, okay.
So along the walls on either side are actually from the Snow White premiere. So like for instance over here, so like the dwarves were in attendance that evening along with Shirley Temple. This one on the other hand is actually from the West Coast
you can get something maybe first.
So you have Walt and then Leo Postakowski, who's the conductor for Fantasia. So at the beginning of the film when you see the mouth bow to the conductor, that's who he's bound, that's who he's bound to, yeah. And then right here, this is our nod to the drop curtain. So it is, the piece is called Crossing Donner Lake. Now, the original obviously would have been a tapestry because it was an actual curtain itself, but ours is an oil painting. But they definitely, it showcases the Western art movement and masters of that time frame really well, especially being that it is an oil painting. So it's just really great. But we'll head upstairs really quickly. I won't be able to take you through all the different dining rooms right now because we are in service, but I can go ahead and kind of take you a little bit through. So there's a lot of great and you'll notice there's quite a bit of actually for the end, which is really fun too. She's actually one of my favorites as well. So, alright, so these are the photos that I was talking about. So you see the carpeting is very similar, the wood paneling, even here's one of the lanterns right in that corner. Even the sconce lighting above a lot of the photographs, as well as the painting, very similar to what you would have found in Carthay Circle. So they drew a lot of inspiration and did tons of research from the night they built our building, which is really
It's funny, it's just like the Ringling Brothers when we went to go see it in St. Pete, the mansion, remember? And all the stained glass, it's funny that.
Wasn't this Alice?
Yes, so that's from the Alice copies. Usually I save that one for last when I do my tours, but it's really great. The photo itself, you have Walt and Roy, obviously. It's the only one I believe in our building that actually has both the brothers in the same photograph. You also have Alice, so you're right, that's Alice from the Alice comedies. Her name was actually Margie Gay, so she was the second young lady to play Alice in the Alice comedies, but the most famous, which is why we actually have the photo. As far as this photo is concerned though, so the Alice comedies was a very early production that Walt did early on in his life when he's still about in Kansas.
Right.
It was actually the last production he did with Laugh-O-Gram. So when they finished up the Alice comedies, they wrapped up production. And it was actually in Kansas that they weren't able to find a distributor for the Alice comedies, which was one of the reasons that ended up leading to Laugh-O-Gram kind of going bankrupt and pushing Walt out west towards California, along with the fact that Walt's brother Roy was already in California. So there was that draw too. So he comes out to California and he starts up the Walt Disney Brothers Company with his brother Roy out of his uncle's garage. And it's actually out in California that he is talking with a young lady named Margaret and her husband Charles Mintz. And they're the ones that actually picked up the Alice comedies and were able to distribute it. And so they both played a very prominent role in Walt's life, but not necessarily for the most positive, because they actually, even though they distributed it, it grew in popularity and to the point where it had to be done on a bigger platform. So it was actually through Charles Mintz that they moved it to Universal, And it grew in popularity that way, and that's when Universal turned to Walt and was like, hey, why don't you do something else, a different animation? And that's when Oswald the Lucky Rabbit comes into play. Yeah, so that's when Oswald comes into play, and it's actually through renegotiations of the contracts that Charles Mintz actually drops the bomb that he doesn't own the rights for Oswald, but Universal does. And so it was kind of a big deal, and obviously, have you ever seen Up? Up the movie?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the villain in Up, his name is Charles Mutz, and it's a play on the name Charles Mintz. That's where that actually stems from. But yeah, so you know, as an individual, you can choose how you're going to react to news like that,
Right.
and Walt actually chose to get right back to work, and that's where Mickey Mouse comes in. And it's actually a couple years down the line when they do Steamboat Willie for sound cartoon.
And then Oswald just.
Yep, blows Oswald, the competition for Oswald right out
And
of the water.
they traded Oswald for a soccer
Yes,
Okay.
but it was actually an ESPN Newsy.
and music.
Yeah, but they did do the trade so that they can have the rights back, which is really great. So that's why you see Oswald in the park. So that yes, that
And then they did all the games and stuff like that because.
And then, but yeah, so that's why they do have that, as well as the fact that as far as Walt in his career, because of the success of Mickey Mouse, eventually does lead to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which is actually the success from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is what helped pay for the Burbank studios, as well as Disneyland, which is why you're here today. So that's usually why I say that one for last. But here's an original photograph, and you also have Mickey Mouse. Walt over here. But over here you do have Shirley and Walt. So Shirley was the one to award him the Academy Award for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So you have the Oscar for Snow White, and the seven small ones for the dwarfs themselves. It was one of the first ones in history to be altered, and it was altered for Walt. So this is our main dining room. So we're gonna just kind of take a peek. We're not gonna go on because we're in service, but you can kind of take a look around. So the dome is actually the Enchanted Forest. It's taken straight from the film. And hand painted, the chandeliers are said to be reminiscent of the Evil Queen's crown, and there's pendants that hang in the middle of each one that is symbolic of poison. And if you ever do our tour in the morning at 10:30, they take you through each one of the dining rooms, which is really nice. But the corner tables in the main dining rooms actually have Evil Queen's basement. I'll take you in here.
Oh, this is where you can see the castle, right?
Yes, so this tower is the tower of our building, and it does line up directly to the castle for Disneyland. So it lines up directly in correlation to that. So which in a lot of ways you can't see it from the building.
With their power
This
room.
is the premier room. So this is the biggest private dining room that we have, but the table sometimes is referred to as the wishing well room because it's upheld by a limestone replica of Snow White's wishing well underneath the table. So if you want to pull out any of the chairs, you can see.
Oh.
So that's a limestone replica of the wishing well. You also have a very young Walt Disney on this side, and then over here you two have Walt and Mickey Mouse. So the top photo is Walt's first photograph with Mickey Mouse, and then the bottom one is actually his last. So very sentimental photos in this room. And then we have two smaller private dining rooms as well, which seat about 4 to 6. Usually aren't open for lunch, but definitely for dinner service. But as you move through our building, especially upstairs, so I was talking about how when you move through the building, it builds on the sense of premiere. So the idea is the foyer actually serves as an overview for Carthay Circle, where it stood and what it meant for Walt. As soon as you step through the doors, you're basically transported right back to the 20s and 30s. So you saw the breaking the ground and the grand opening for Carthay on that back wall. You saw the blue carpet premieres. So, and then you're standing in the premiere room itself, so you're at the premiere is the idea. And generally next we take you to Hollywood, but because we're seated and there's a lot of people seated in Hollywood right now, I can't take you in there at the moment. But we do tours every morning at 10:30 if you're ever here again. And they do take you
Beautiful.
throughout the restaurant, which is really neat. But there are 7 dining rooms. An idea is 7 dining rooms, 7 dwarves, and we do feature 2 balconies in addition, so that's kind of neat. So, yeah. It's a lot of fun. But we'll go ahead and head downstairs.
This is very pretty.
You know what? I'm gonna go too. We're already headed out. So there's 2 eyes in that's the evil queen from Snow White. She's throughout the wood grain.
This, the two eyes.
So
Oh.
you have 2 eyes. No, so there's the back of the cape, and here's the face right here in her crown.
Oh.
Don't eat anything with that.
You want to have dinner here?
We can check the reservation. Are you here for multiple days?
Our last day for the park.
Oh, bummer.
Tomorrow the last day.
Okay, well, we'll see if we have any openings. If not, you can always check at 4:30 to see if there's.
So I just got out of the tour, but look, I'm gonna come and take a picture of Oswald. I've been dying to. He looks so awesome. Oh my god, here we go. Look, a little bunny fluff thing in the back. So adorable. Oswald! I've been looking for you all day.
Yes, you have definitely. Oh, hi, Oswald. Thank you so much for taking photographs. Oswald. I want a picture.
Thanks so much. No, that's Oswald. He's taking a picture with you. Did you want a picture with Oswald and Mickey? Yeah. Okay, just wait a second. Okay. I didn't know that's you.
And
Wait.
an extreme Oswald close up. So cute.
Stay right there. We're gonna go right into the big one too. Waiting one more. Stay right there. Perfect.
I'm here at the Captain America and Spider-Man. Yeah, wait. Camera. Like in the movie. And then there's that guy. This is my Captain America and Spider-Man and Oswald. Jessica was extremely nice to me in the Marvel meetup. Yeah, she like talked to me for like an hour. I was there for an hour, I think, and she talked to me all the time. So yeah, now I'm gonna be going to Cars Land. I'm not gonna go to Tower Terror. Petrified of Tower Terror. But yeah, I'm gonna go to Cars Land. This video I met a lot of nice people. The Carthay Circle, the tour I took actually really starts at 8, but I got there at 10. But I couldn't really take a full tour because they were during dining service hours, so I couldn't really see all the rooms. But I did take the majority of the tour, which was really cool. I met Oswald, which is awesome, and I saw some of the superheroes. Jessica, I believe her name was, the one who was very nice to me at the Marvel meet and greet, actually gave me tickets to the Frozen at the Hyperion, which was sold out, which was actually really cool. I'm not gonna be putting that on the theme park kid POV because it wasn't the full show, so I kind of don't want to put that up since it's not the full show. But I took the majority of the show because it was like the major points of the show. So yeah, next show I'll be going to Cars Land. I mean, next video I'll be going to Cars Land, which is awesome. I'm gonna be going to Bugs Land, and then I'm gonna end it off. I'm gonna spoil it for you guys. I kind of did, but yeah, I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you guys all very, very soon.